Alrighty, we are here reviewing a Nebulabass Tracer replay. I want to say that this is from early December of 2025. Is that correct, E?
No, it is from November 30th, 2025.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just looked at it right now.
So, let's see. This is definitely not solo queue. I recognize some of the people that you're playing with.
Yeah, I had to, they were asking for boosts, so I'm boosting them right now with my
True.
Yeah.
So I liked what you were doing at the very start with cutting off the rotations while your Sylvanas cheesed the side lane. I didn't like how you traded some damage with the Muradin because he just heals off any damage that you deal. Like, if you deal like 100 damage to him and he deals 50 to you, he still won that trade, you know, if you ask me sometimes. Because, like, none of it stuck. That's a bad example because, you know, 50 is just going to get healed off, but you get the idea behind it. He doesn't have to do as much to win the trade. I like the thought process here with cutting off the rotation, but so take a look at this. I like what you're thinking about as far as cutting this rotation, but in order for this to be effective, you need to stay where you're not visible past this corner. The problem is, for one, you don't get on your mount, and for two, like, this is good where you are right now, but you go over here, and this causes them to have a lot more reaction time.
I was gonna say, like, I thought I was in a good spot in management, but then you showed I revealed, so I'm like, never mind. No,
Yeah.
good. I lost
And
it.
just
Game over.
something big that I want you to think about while we watch this is, are you actually getting something valuable out of your blinks? Because it's really tempting to just kind of blink whenever, but that's a 9-second cooldown. She just burned like 18 seconds of cooldown, and then that meant that you couldn't chase the Ragnaros and get away from the Muradins. That actually cost us at least a couple hundred damage and maybe a chance at a kill there because we were too blink happy. And it also
Dies, yeah.
it costs you the chance of body blocking, and I think that if you make the body block play and the Brightwing is asleep, then you definitely get the kill. And maybe even through the Brightwing Z. If you want your wave to stay alive, you'll do more DPS. Like, you'll keep it alive better by hitting their archers first. And just like right here, putting damage into Muradin actually accomplishes nothing. Like, maybe if we're pulse rounds, because then we have extra pulse bomb charge. But we were trying to get pulse bomb as soon as possible and just use it for wave clear. Like, when you're anchoring these side lanes, you're pulse bombing all the time for wave clear. Against the Medivh, we want to be baiting out his Q, and then as soon as we know he's about to cast it, we just side blink it. And you get, this is true of a lot of things, by the way, like a lot of projectiles that get thrown out at you, or even like characters that slide at you, like ETC, is that you want to be hitting them at max range, which is what this level 1 that you have right here, Tracer Runs, is really good for, and that you have that extra 0.5 range. So that's an extra that much worth of reaction time as well. Again, if we're going to be cutting these rotates, I liked the idea of going a little deeper, but we had to do it from that bush. And then, ooh, so here's actually... This is a big thing as Tracer, and just in general, when you are making plays around areas that you don't necessarily have vision of, or you think someone might be in a bush or might be around a corner, it's very important that you attack move. Because your attack move is going to react instantly, whereas if you're right-clicking around, then you're going to lose the opportunity to deal damage. And so right here, if you were attack moving, the Rag gets dismounted. And that actually is a pretty significant blow to your macro potential there.
I usually am. I don't know why I'm not doing it in this clip.
Yeah, totally. This never happens to me, I swear.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of cutting rotates so much if you actually have people in the waves, but with this game, I think you just want to be using a ton of pulse bombs on the side lane, like you did right there, which is very good. And allowing your Lucio to be more in the other lanes and let him do the rotation cutting and whatnot. Also, a very specific Cursed Hollow tech. I like Globe 4 in games where you don't have a healer, and what ends up happening in a lot of Tracer games, why are we blinking so much, brother? What ends up happening in a lot of Tracer games is that you're so alone in the side lane that you functionally don't have a healer. So also, by the way, pay attention to how much damage this bomb deals really quick. So if we look, Pulse Bomb deals 423 damage, and it deals half of that in the radius if they're not specifically touching the bomb. And so if we see the damage number that pops up when we hit this tower right here, you'll notice that the tower took 423 damage, but the other buildings took 211. You can actually get around this and have 2 buildings take the full damage, because if there's a Pulse Bomb... whoops, changed my scene there in OBS on accident. But if there is a pulse bomb that's on the ground like this, and when it explodes, if any units are touching the physical bomb on the ground, then they actually take the full damage. And that's why this tower took the full damage, because it's touching the bomb on the ground. So you can place the bomb perfectly in such a way, it's pretty forgiving because the bomb's kind of big, but you can place the bomb perfectly in such a way that it's touching both the gate and the tower, or the tower and the sidewall, and they'll both take full damage.
Okay.
That's actually the time that's most useful is when you have like a conga line of minions like what we see here, because if you put the bomb like down right here, for example, then you can have like multiple minions walk into it and they take full damage. It's a little bit more wave clear. I like the decision to go mid here. We can see that it has a big wave, and mid is just generally the highest priority lane because of the fact that it's the shortest lane, so the waves are going to be there first. I really wish this was your Zool doing this instead, but it is better to pick up the Miss Soak if nobody's gonna get it. And same thing as before, if you're not threatened at all and you just want your wave as healthy as possible, I like to go for the archers first. Just use your pulse bomb. The thing is, like, pulse bomb is such a short cooldown. Don't be afraid to just chuck it, man. Yeah, like right there, that's good. You forced him to use all his cooldowns and he accomplished nothing really lasting at all. Looks like your Joe's gonna go get topside. Perfect. We're so scared, brother. What are we so scared of? Whoa.
Morgan's gonna haymaker me in.
See, like, you're going from spending too much time too far away to all of a sudden diving before you need to. When, like, a lot of times you're just trying to hover at, like, 5 range. Like, right here, I'm just hitting this building the whole time for sure. Let's see. I feel like we should have done Giants at least once by now. So I'm gonna tell you, this is another thing to really keep track of whenever you're playing Tracer. One of the most important rules of this hero, especially when you're playing her with an auto attack playstyle, is not to be next to anyone. And this is both enemies and allies, because if you're like at melee range of the enemies, then you're gonna take a lot of damage because they're just free hitting you. But also if you're next to your allies, not even just versus a Maiev, but in general, if you're next to your allies, then they're gonna hit you with AoEs. Whereas if you're away from your allies, then they have to choose, like, oh, do I send my skill shots at Tracer and probably miss, or do I completely ignore the Tracer and let her kill me? And both of those options really suck for the enemy team. Well, like, right here is specifically where that comes in mind for me, is that we had this free opportunity to stand about where my mouse is, up by this guy up here, and just harass the Ragnaros, but we walk straight into his blast wave. And that makes us feel kind of desperate and want to blink out when we don't necessarily have to. I do see that your attack moving on the ground though, which is really good. At this point, there's nothing else for you to do and you should just go soak bot lane. Like, that Johanna's already dead, yeah. This is so greedy, brother. Just get the soak.
Nah, what are they gonna do?
Because you're stalling yourself from the soak too.
It's sums at, so what's it called? Zero sum. Like nobody.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you go soak bottom, then at worst it breaks even. If you don't go soak bottom, at best it breaks even. Definitely the big thing that I'm noticing is using blinks when you don't have to. And the second thing is just not maximizing your auto attack uptime properly. Dodge the lava wave. We see 3 of them right now. I don't think they're cutting your rotates. If I had to guess, they're on bruisers. I'm actually curious. Let's check. No, they just hearthed. Yep, we prioritize the archers here because they do the most siege damage. It's a little unoptimal, but that's fine. Yo. I think the wave should be there soon, no? Yeah, it's passing by the fort now, but this is good. Like, you had plenty of downtime before there were going to be any minions. That's a good play right there. And it's also good discipline not to press Pulse Bomb yet. Ideally, we would have held it a little bit longer because you need to wait for both the Maiev trait and the the Medivh W to come out as well. I want to watch this again. So this is where you really see, like, why you shouldn't ever stand on top of your teammates if you can. So we're attacking the Maiev, and we want to be about right here, where my cursor is. We're trying to be outside of the fort, but also not giving Medivh the remote possibility of landing a double hit Q. Make him choose one of you. But the thing is, we start to stand on our team here, and this opens up the door for Maiev to hit us, and then we're on the Johanna. Like, always just stay off of your team. Don't be next to anybody else when you're playing auto attack Tracer. It looked like you didn't shift Q your right click there.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, just whenever you mount up, just shift right click so you'll start moving instantly every time. Yeah, it's a good play to guard these giants. And then like right there, for example, you were too close to the giants, so you tanked the rag Q. If you go more up and to the left, like where this guy on the wall is standing, that guy looks like Raynor. Hold on. Tell me they didn't just use Raynor's model for that, dude. That is totally Raynor's model.
I didn't know there was people there. I had no idea.
But if you stand about where that guy is, then Rag either Qs you, which even then it's not necessarily guaranteed because you might be able to Q out of it. But Rag either Qs you and doesn't damage the giants, or the other way around. But you're a little too close. Then just tanking the tower shot, same deal. Like, what you're panicking, brother. You're going further than you need to. Oh, true.
Yeah.
That was crazy when he cleared that whole wave bot lane with Sulfurous Smash, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why he would do such a thing.
All I gotta say is if you play like this, then definitely you need Jumper to fix these blinks.
Okay, yeah, I usually pick Jumper. That one game was just I don't know what happened there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like...
in my experience, this Jumper just feels better. So,
oh, it does. It's a way easier and forgiving to use, if you ask me. But like, it can bait you into misplay sometimes because you think you can get away with anything. So let's go back and watch this again. Just the big thing is about constantly hovering at the edge of your range and getting the maximum amount of time auto-attacking in that you can. And I'd say versus like a huge chunk of the roster, getting into range to melee is actually a misplay. And versus Rag is definitely one of them. So you're going to see it happen right here where we walk into Blast Wave. I actually don't think that hit us. But we feel obligated to walk away. And like right here, there's no reason to get any closer than we are right now. We have vision of him because we have Tracer rounds. We should just keep free hitting him and he can't do anything about it. But we walk up and let him hit us, and so then that makes us feel like we need to blink away, even though he's already done all his burst damage at this point. Like, it's most of the problem, I would say, is that you're just getting too close to other players. Like, that is like problem number one. It's like, it's the same thing right there. And then right there, that's the classic parting gift misplay. I remember, I think I saw Pirate Bear saying something about that when he watched this replay.
He's like, why did you do it? And I'm like, force a habit, honestly. It's not even a habit because I don't pick the talent, but it was like, oh, there's 4 people here, let me recall.
Yeah.
I wasn't much thought beyond
and
that.
you only did it because you were in too close. Like, this is a hero where you're constantly fiddling with your positioning, but you're not actually pressing your buttons that often. And that's part of why, like, I really like move speed on Tracer. Sometimes people might think it's, like, redundant, but it actually is so nice because it lets you hold your blinks more for more valuable usages. Because it's a 9-second cooldown. Like, you gotta be kind of judicious with those uses. I feel like we're way behind in the boss race here because we crossed the whole map and that we should have just played this. Am I wrong?
I don't remember what the comps were like here, but I kind of agree. I was thinking about that as you were talking about the stuff earlier.
It's like, because we saw them walk towards boss pit and then we're like, okay, let's cross the entire map towards ours.
Yeah, I think it was a call. I just don't exactly remember what comms were like because it's like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you trust your scaling, then I honestly don't hate it. Like, you're about to reach the threshold where Tracer becomes an above average hero. She's below average till 13. Okay. So, right here, there's something that I remember these 2 magicians, Penn and Teller, really famous ones, saying. And they were emphasizing how when you watch a magic trick, the magician is never actually in danger. The trick is that they're making you think that there's any danger at all, but even if the magician like messes up the whole trick, they're not in any danger whatsoever. And similarly, when you are trying to bait cooldowns from the enemy team, and realistically, you should expect someone to be in this bush right here, right? Like it's right next to the objective, they just came from that direction, it would be kind of crazy not to be in this bush. So what you're trying to do is act like you're going to enter their range, but you're never actually doing it. Similar to the magician. So it's kind of like when I'm playing against a Diablo, I will act like I'm gonna walk in front of a wall, and maybe I'm in front of it for like a quarter second, and then I blink off. You know, like I'm never actually stunnable. I'm just making it look like I'm walking into stunnable range, and then immediately getting out of it to try and bait his Q. Similar idea here, in that we go a little too far. I like that your attack moving forward though, so you instantly hit him and then cancel them out. That's really good. But like right here, you should always expect him to just slam Q and just preemptively blink it, especially 13. Like, once you have jumper, that's when you can really start spamming these. But the thing is, like, this guy's always going to press Q. Like you, as a general rule, you can expect people to press their buttons. They're going to take a little bit of reaction time to press it, but they're going to press their buttons. And then right here, there's just no reason to be near 3 people. Let's back the fuck up. That was a good escape.
There's a little bit of the Samuro autopilot there sometimes, because it feels like I can get away with that with Samuro, but like here, it was definitely a bit too greedy. Although I have a blink, so I thought it was pretty safe.
The thing about it is that it's not necessarily about safe, it's about like what's the play that makes you win the damage exchange. And as auto attack tracer, you're constantly trying to turn the game into a one-on-one against the hero that is the worst at fighting you on the enemy team. And the way you achieve that is by flanking really, really hard so that the enemy team can't all just walk at you. And if they all walk at you like what you saw at that square bush a moment ago, then you just walk away and you wasted 3 people's positioning for yours, and you're a lot more mobile than they are. I love the decision to bully the Maiev there. I wish we kept up with it. Yeah, don't let her, like this is the big thing that makes auto attack tracer just absolutely destroy Maiev, is that her positioning is very predictable. And so right here, like, the fact that we got hit by this W is absolutely criminal, because we just walk into melee range. Or rather, let her walk into us. A little bit of a panic recall, but I get it. I'm not gonna lie, I eat Maiev disc way more than I should.
I mean, it results in nothing as well.
So, like what you're doing right now, this is the kind of thing I've been wanting to see from you all game in terms of like where you are relative to where all the other heroes are. You're a little too close to the Muradin, and then I wish you were like maybe half a range away and autoing. Because trying to hit the Medivh here will put you in his auto range a lot easier. I love the decision to go behind them with recognizing that you have a huge number advantage and you properly focus the Medivh there. You should just hit this building, yeah. No point in chasing that guy. I'm curious what you're going for here.
I think this is just autopilot more.
Yeah, I felt like we should have maybe killed that fort, but here your Zul should have run straight mid. He shouldn't have even dismounted mid. Ideally, if you can, you would shot call that, but I don't know if that's feasible in the situation you had here. But like, I see it all the time, where a team is coming out of bot lane, and they're heading towards mid, and you have 2 players heading towards mid. One of them needs to go past mid and run straight top, but a lot of times both of them will soak mid, and then you end up missing top soak. Oh! Alright, chat, we gotta see that one again. Brutal!
We've been there.
The Maiev fails the wall hop, the NA wall hop.
Gather tribute or face my curse.
I assume you're just...
Like we failed to blink, it's NA blink.
Yeah, true. I assume you're just going like my normal build with Ricochet and all that. Yeah. Let's just walk up and hit it. So big thing versus Ragnaros is that he always comes out at the same spot. I'm sure you know this, but he always comes out at the same spot. See, this is where using those blinks starts to bite you in the ass. So let's take a look at this again. We should just be 3 blinks until something forces us. We can blink in, that's fine. That second one actually was good in order to dodge the Medivh Q. The problem is, like, we need to just run bottom left from this position as hard as we can. Because if the Brightwing goes in any other direction, she dies. If she runs away bottom left and you don't go bottom left, then she lives. And that's the only way she makes it out of this. But if she goes back up top right, then your team just kills her. So like right here, if you play from about here, so this way you're obeying the rules of Tracer and you're not standing on top of your teammates. If you play from about right here, the Brightwing just has no plays whatsoever, because even if she blinks onto the minion wave, if you like maintain this spacing and keep going this way, then you can just blink after her and kill her every time. But we're just a little bit out of range if we would have blinked onto her there. And then right here, whenever you see protected, this is your big neon flashing sign to throw a pulse bomb. I understand some hesitation here because you're like, oh, he's got his portal next to him. But like specifically when you see this, this is when you slam pulse bomb.
Okay, because the armor attack is different. I didn't actually think about that. Wait, that's cool actually. Oh, the attack speed, so I actually noticed it there.
And then right here, this is something I do all the time, and it's especially nice here because you already have people revealed behind the wall, that you can auto the sidewall and bounce it onto them without getting tower hits back. Like if you go over here towards the bottom of the bush and right click on the sidewall. And this would stop them from mounting, and it would keep Muradin's trait disactive or disabled for longer. And just be really irritating and tilting for the enemy team. I also love stay next to Greffer. Ah, that's a good play by Medivh to scout it out and sniff it out. Low key though, now that I'm looking at this again, we're up 16, just take their siege camp. Like if they come stop you, they just die, right? Yeah, I don't blame you for not noticing it. It wasn't technically up at the time, but if we were like perfect, I think we would have just gone straight on it or gone straight mid for the soak, but we don't need to all be here. They're not going to play that down 16. Yeah, and just don't let him melee you. It's just playing too close, that's all it is. We know Disc is down. Disc is Maev's like literally only tool in the entire matchup, by the way. Blink out of there, brother. But as again, you blinked like when you were already safe. So how do I put it? A lot of times as Tracer in these team fights, once you know about like where you should stand, like for example, this is where their health bars are, this is where your health bars are. This means that in order to not be next to anybody but still be in auto attack range, you have two possible places. You can either be over here or you can be over here. And because of where you were the last few seconds, realistically that means you have to play this from over here. And you were doing that a moment ago and it was really good. The problem was that you didn't dodge the Medivh Q, probably because you were too caught up in other things in the fight. But literally like, essentially the only things you need to be thinking about in this situation are just, am I not standing on other heroes? And am I at auto attack range? And then am I dodging whatever I need to dodge? And in this case, let me move forward a little bit here. Like people would see me playing Tracer and like talking to Twitch chat at the same time. And they're like, oh, how do you do that? That's crazy. And it's like, because I know how to filter out like all the useless information that's on my screen. And most of this is useless information. Like you can, like that's what I mean. Like you can just look at these health bars and be like, oh, I need to be over here. And then when you're over here, you need to ask yourself, well, what do I actually need to respect on this team right here? Because it's basically just Muradin Q and Medivh Q, right? Like Maev's whole kit is really slow, so she can't ever reach you. And it's the same thing with Ragnaros. If you don't get in melee range, that hero is literally not going to do anything to you, especially without Sulfurous Smash. And everything that they have is completely reactable. So the hardest to react to things on this team are the Medivh Q, sorry, the Maiev Q, or Medivh Q, yes, Medivh Q and Muradin Q. So if we just stand over here, then we just laser focus in on these cooldowns and just get ready to sidestep them, and that's what we pour all of our energy into. So it's specifically, I say this because we get hit by this Medivh Q right here. And if we're only thinking, well, how am I going to react to the only threats that they have? And in this position, because the Muradin was out of range, it was literally just Medivh Q. That was like the only thing we needed to be thinking about there. Because everything else is so reactable. And that was standing on teammates, so we get punished and lose a bunch of HP. This is fine. He does nothing to you. He's getting baited so hard. I actually kind of expected you to get hit by that. You need to heal off this tower here. Yeah, just keep hitting the tower so you heal. You're spending too much time out of attack range. Yeah, like Tracer can seem really complicated, but a lot of times it's like, well, I don't want to be meleeing them, and I don't want to be out of auto attack range, and I don't want to stand on top of them. And you put all those things together, and it leaves you with like literally one place to stand. Like right here, I want to be auto attacking things, but I don't want to be too close to them. Well, if I'm auto attacking the gate from over here, then they can hit me really easy. But if I'm auto attacking them from like behind the sidewall, even though it's about to die, like it's harder for them to reach me, and I have better vision. So this leaves this as like the only place where you can attack from, and this is really good. The problem is that we back away too much. We're probably just respecting the Stormbolt. Honestly, skill issue, just watch his animations. I don't know what to tell you. But like right here, for example, now this is a great time when we look at how everybody's positioned. We have the portals over here. I think the other side of the portal is here. I'm not, it's kind of hard to tell. But like we have the portal over there. We have the Medivh we have over here. We have our guys over here. So now the new position that's away from everyone, but still within attack range of something is over here. So now this is where we should be hitting the gates. That's, I don't, never mind, uninstall the game. I'm sorry. Like you can see, we're playing from inside our team here, so that means we eat a Maiev eat. Like you'll notice, like the thing that I think separates me as a Tracer player from other people is I just don't eat unnecessary damage. And the reason I don't is because I'm like so aloof in the positioning. I see we somehow inexplicably have another 9 minutes of replay here. Can you can end here, right? Am I crazy?
I think. I don't see why we can't.
What happens? Wait, you do try to end. What happens?
Okay, look, I don't remember. I'm actually just a shock to zero. Surely we kill Rag, right?
So we get into like super close melee range for some reason, and now we're tanking the core on top of allies, so it's splashing onto them. So here's actually something that's really important to keep in mind, specifically when you are sieging as Ricochet Tracer, and it's that Ricochet, it has a bounce range of 5, which is the same as your default bounce range, but that's not as important as knowing this part, which is that range of 5 is calculated from the center of what you're hitting to the edge of another hitbox.
Oh, so it's massive on the core.
Well, so it's 5 away from the center of the core, so they have to be right next to the core in order for it to bounce on them.
Oh, never mind. I was thinking, okay, never mind.
But if you hit like the Ragnaros, then it might bounce to the core. I think it's a little bit out of range. That's like 6 range, you know? But like, if you hit someone that's standing next to a fort or a keep or the core, then it bounces onto it from really far away. But if you hit the building, then they have to be standing right next to the building for it to bounce onto them. So a lot of times it is better for you to be hitting something that's not the building when you're Ricochet.
I see, okay.
I don't necessarily know if that would be the play. Like, I think this is good positioning right here. But like, for example, I would now be hitting the Muradin in this position. And then letting my ricochets bounce on him. Because you'll notice your ricochets aren't hitting anything. Like, you're only seeing these red numbers for the core. So you're losing a lot of overall DPS by that. And then we had a gravy train position right there where we could have just kept sitting there and auto-attacking, but we broke it getting into melee range. Like, that is overwhelmingly the big problem, is just getting too close to other heroes. This hurts. All right, let's get out of here. No, just shut up. That was such an easy core call. Get out of my face.
See, in retrospect, I agree 100% that was the core call. But I don't even know why I typed that.
I love this play right here to cut off the Maiev. What you should be doing, and I can tell you're not doing because you're standing still, is you should be attack moving like left and right inside this bush. So that way you don't leave the bush, but you auto attack them like the nanosecond that they enter your range. So I like the idea, but this could be tweaked just a little bit. So the problem is that you blink down and to the right, which stops you from being able to slow down their approach to the boss. Because now if they keep walking in forward, you have to kind of face check into them. But if you blink up and to the right, you know that this is what they're trying to do. They have a 2-person advantage. And your Sylva's Hearthing, so really they have like a 3-person advantage. And your Joe is in base, so really they have like a 4-person advantage. You are the only thing that's slowing them down from this boss, but you have to stay in the path that they want to go. So if we blink up and to the right, then we have a lot more ability to stall this out. But then they just kind of walk past you. Oh, I love the decision to go out back and jump on that rag. What are you afraid of?
I didn't see the rest of their team.
I don't give a fuck. Oh my god, dude. Coward. I do really like the play to proxy that wave. I wish that we had stuck with it and actually killed the wave. At least killed the archers, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because melee minions don't really do any damage, but really I think you should have killed all of them. This is super wishy-washy. I don't know why we're not committing to any of our plays. Like, I liked the play to proxy the wave, I liked the play to steal the giants, but let's actually do the play. I think
there's moments where it's like, there's something going on in comms, and so like I'm not thinking about my play, I'm just thinking about the comms. But again, I don't remember what was being said, so I am not punching the building. Yeah.
Why is it that when we're against heroes, you go melee them for no reason, and then when there's no heroes around, you don't hit the building?
I can't psychologically trick the building. There's no mind game here. I think I should stay.
No, I think this is correct, and especially to go in this corridor right here, because you knew that they were above you. So they were either going to come from your left, or they were going to come from up and right, but they were never going to come from below you, so this is correct if you ask me. I think we probably should have gone this way. Is this a hearth? Oh, that's... I mean, I get it, you know, like there's no way that you die doing this, but I think it makes you too late to the fight. Oh, you're just going to clear top. Okay. I think you just kind of int this boss and just fight the tribute, to be honest, but... Was our Joe dead?
Yeah, Joe died.
Rip. Never mind. Then this is okay. Are you gonna hearth? They just cleared bot fort. They're definitely just gonna walk up and hit bot keep, right? Yeah. We should have hearthed already. We are very late to this defense. We're always typing. See, like, oh my god, look at how you're positioning this fight, and notice that you're not taking any damage, and you're not getting hit by anything. Because you're obeying the rules of Tracer right here. You're staying in attack range, and you're not standing on anybody else. If you do this all the time, then all of your fights will go like this, where you're just doing a bunch of damage without taking any in return. Yeah, this is really good. Yeah, no, you're staying like exactly where you should be for the most part. Like the Maievi is reactable and we need to blink away when it comes out, but up to that point it was very good. I like the pre-tap. We could have been a little more aggro, like I think we took a second to recognize our advantage there. We blinked through the lava wave instead of away from it, and so we took a couple extra 100 damage. This is the same problem that you had against the right wing up here, which is I think you're not recognizing that there's no chance in hell that they're going to fight you in this situation. So look at specifically the HP bars situation in just a second. So the Muradin just wasted his jump. I don't blame you if we didn't see that in game. I didn't see that the first time around. But look at their HP bars and the fact that they are portaling out from right now, and the fact that this rag is completely by the way. From all of this information that we have, we know for a fact that this enemy team is about to be sprinting away from us as fast as they can. So we should just be hard running bottom left. The exact same way we were against the Bright Wing up here, because we knew that if she did anything other than run away, she was going to die. And so the only play that they can possibly make is to run away. So we need to run in that direction too. But we're just kind of sitting back and not really like sprinting into it. If we blinked earlier, and put our blink on cooldown so the jumper was going off, we would be down here and we would still be attacking them on the other side of the portal. So right here, I'm gonna tell you, rags, every time, every rag player that was ever born always instantly presses Q as soon as they come out of Molten Core. And you know that he's gonna press it to the right here. So if you blink left as soon as you're out of this polymorph, you'll dodge it every time. I guarantee you as soon as I unpause, he's gonna Q. Boom, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's exactly what I want to see. And then we weren't standing on the Joe, so he could only hit one of us with his ult. And now we need to blink over to where this bush is, so that we're still in attack range, but we're not standing on any heroes. This is good, but we need to be attack moving, yes. Ah, we walked back into range. We needed to stay in that position. Yeah, and that actually costs us our recall cooldown and the chance of chasing for any more kills. Any more kills to the left, I should say. Wait, what? Your teammate died?
I think he died to the
Shampoopy, if you're watching this video, uninstall. I'm sorry.
Not like this, man.
Fuck! You know you have a wave here because you could see your own wave behind you. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, chat, this is actually a technique that is very important if you're playing a hero that has like one really big wave clear cooldown, and it's something I call an induced crash. So when minion waves run into each other, they shift out of this conga line formation into a crash formation where they all bunch up. And if you induce a crash by walking in, so like not even before it reached like a structure or a minion wave, you make it crash yourself. What you can do is you can aggro all the minions, And then if you walk into the back of them like this, then it clumps them all up perfectly to get hit by an AoE. So if you're playing, I can't think of any other characters right off the top of my head that also match this description. But like, if you're playing a character that has like limited wave clear, where it's really concentrated in an ability or two, and it can't hit the whole conga line, then you want to induce a crash if it's safe to do so, and use that in order to group them all up for a pulse bomb. Here, you need to be using your jumper blinks so that you don't take damage from the wave. Also, so like walk up, blink, because you lose a lot of HP to this wave actually, and then use your pulse bomb to clear the induced crash. Perfect. Not perfect, but you get the idea. I think that was an easy bruiser steal, but yeah, this guy looks dead too. Let's melee him. Brother, why is melee still available?
I think I kind of remember that moment where I like regretted like not pressing W. I was like, I think he dies if I don't press W. Like, that may have been in the comms.
Another cool HOTS trick here is that if you have an ability that doesn't need to be aimed at all, such as Tracer's W, like there's no influence on where your mouse is at all on an ability, then you can hold the button down and it'll go off as soon as possible. Like as soon as it's off cooldown or as soon as you're in range or whatever allows you to cast that ability. And so you can see right there is that our W became active. So if we were holding W, we would have just pressed it on her and killed her. And by the way, also chat, this also applies, that technique that I just said, to a lot of abilities if you're holding down the Alt button that makes you self-cast, because then you don't need to target anymore. Then your mouse doesn't matter if you're holding Alt. So a lot of abilities can be cast instantly if you're holding Alt that otherwise normally couldn't be. And this really matters if you're ever being like CC chained, for example, because then if their CC chain has even like the slightest gap in it, you can use that gap in order to cast an ability. Yeah, we're really loose with our recalls. And we need to react to the Maiev E. Like that's like the next big thing. I would say once you like drill the positioning thing into your head, because in a lot of these fights, and especially in the second half of the game, you are genuinely standing where you're supposed to be in the fights. Like I've noticed you're getting a lot better about it as the game goes on. The problem is that once you do that, you're not doing the next step, which is reacting to the reactable inputs that they throw at you. Like Maiev E is something that you should just be waiting for her to throw. It's like she's either going to throw E at me or she's going to throw disc at me. And if I'm ready, neither of them's going to do anything. Just going to fast forward here, try to get all the way through. And then I really like the approach here to approach from the flank away from your teammates. We're attack moving. I wish we'd attack a little bit more. Like we shouldn't be afraid of this. Like we're playing as if this Muradin can somehow set up a kill for us at like 6 range, which again I think is like being scared of the Stormbolt. But skill issue. Watch him.
I think I was prepping for the new patch that's gonna come out next month. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, true.
It's like the massive range gun. I think that's what it is. Oh my god.
Wait, where's the... What is happening? Was that you or was that me that moved the camera like that?
I think it was you. But I just ate that ball.
Yeah.
Watching it.
No, this is you, dog. That was you. What are you doing?
Nah. I'm being gassed though. It's clearly not me.
You're missing a lot of locked in loadeds. You're not auto attacking and you're moving the camera. I don't know. Dude is drunk and then asked me to replay review. Okay, see, like right here, this is where you just stay out of range. Like there's a concept I tell my ranged auto attackers, especially when I coach them. It's called minimum safe distance, and it's that you should identify what is the range from the fight at which I can stand, and then there is no possibility that they kill me. And this includes, like, this doesn't mean like, oh, I'm so far away that no ability can hit me. It's like, I'm so far away that anything they can do to me is reactable. That's the idea. So like, there's no way I should die. And then when you find out where minimum safe distance is, there's no reason to go back any further than that. If you're already at minimum safe distance, there is literally no reason to go any further back away from that. And anytime you do, you're just causing yourself to lose DPS. And so right now, you're doing a perfect job. You're away from your teammates, you're at the minimum safe distance, you're auto-attacking, it's great. The problem is right here. When they start going down, you need to be sort of rubber banded to them, following them, but we go behind the keep for some reason, and we lose all this DPS when we could be auto-attacking. Let's go ahead and get some hits on the boss here. Like, and the thing is also, when you're 100%, you can play a little willing to take some damage, because you're just going to lifesteal it off anyway, and you're going to pulse gen it off anyway. That was a really good pulse bomb to take advantage of the phase out by the Brightwing. I like the blinks in here, and then yeah, see, like when you use those blinks that aggressively on the chase, it means that you get the blink back again so much sooner from jumper, like I was telling you earlier, and that allowed you to dodge the blast wave. That's really good. It's like right here, I'm thinking about playing this entirely from behind them, because again, look at how much HP they have. You know for a fact in this situation they are going to run away, so therefore you should be taking this fight from behind them and make them run into you. And just don't let this dude melee you. What are we doing? Go below them. They can't do anything to you. These guys are chumps. Why are we meleeing them? We're just letting them go! Oh, I'm pissed. I am so pissed. That was a full-on full white, brother.
Yeah, I got nothing.
And that was another situation where you lost a little DPS by right-clicking forward instead of attack moving. What is this Brightwing? Why does she not have a health bar? Oh, I think it's an invisible friends bug, yeah.
Yeah, but the replay's broken, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do not be afraid to blink in. Like, when you have jumper and people are running away from you, you need those blinks to be on full cooldown as much as possible so that you're actually getting the jumper bonus cooldown. Throw that pulse bomb. Yeah! Alright, good stuff. So we just wrap it up. Yeah, we don't even need to kill the keep.
The true ending there.
This is still, like... People will be like, oh, it's the end of the game, it doesn't matter, but I still believe that it just matters as far as habits. Like, people will be like, oh, the game didn't matter because I lost, but I'm like, oh, well, didn't you have all the chance to, like, build all those habits? And so the reason I'm saying that is because right here, you are already in range to melee him, and you were about a half second before this. He should already be meleeed, and what that means is that you don't have to blink after this guy at all. You don't have to spend any blinks getting on him, but you blink in, and then you melee when he was already meleeable. And what this means is that when he dies and he was already going to die, it means that you're farther away from the core, so you're doing like thousands less damage to the core because you could already be on it. And then right here, we want to be, again, just always split off our teammates, but we walk into them, and so it means that we take a bunch of damage from this Maiev, and it also means that we're in perfect position to face tank this disc. And it might be like, oh, well, that's not going to change the outcome, it doesn't matter, but it's about habits. It's about, you know, like how you're actually... what you're reinforcing.
Yeah.
Then you see here, like, you were hitting the Maiev, and even when she was way over here, it was bouncing onto the core, whereas earlier you're hitting the core, and from the same spot, it's not bouncing onto them.
Yeah, that's something I just didn't really know about, like, the ricochet ranges from the center, not from the outer ring.
And it's the same way, I think, with a lot of abilities that are sort of, like, pulsing off of the enemy, you know? Like I'm pretty sure that that Zul'jin's auto attack 20, that's also a ricochet, does the same thing. I can't think of any other effects off the top of my head. Probably Asmodean's AoE, you know, like I want to say Master of Destruction at 7. I know that's one of his 7s. That would be.
That is from the center too, because the circle's really tiny around structures when you do it.
I'm pretty sure it works like that, but not 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I liked a lot of what I saw, especially in the second half of the team fights. Obviously, I thought a lot of it was kind of sloppy and needed some cleanup, but, like, I think that if you just watch your play and you just really take into heart, don't get into melee range for no reason, and stay on the side of the fight, and don't blink for no reason, like, you will be, like, Diamond plus Tracer. This is already, like, you did fine in a Diamond game. You know, I believe you said this was a Diamond SL game, and, like, you know, your top damage by 10k, you know, you've got like solid stats and everything. You could actually just genuinely be like one of the better tracers if you just implemented those few things.
Okay.
Oh yeah. You have anything else you want to say before I turn this off?
I was gonna say there are a lot of moments when I play Tracer where, like, I think I'm fixing it, but I still get the issue sometimes. And you saw it like in the replay too, where like sometimes, like I'm chasing someone and I auto attack the wrong thing. Like I'll still do force move, but every now and again, like it just will change the targeting randomly. I don't know why. It could be an input on my end.
I feel like it's because they're walking out of your range, but I would need to see a specific moment to like really say for sure. I will say I get kind of lazy and I just attack move when I should be like right clicking or force moving, and it causes me to lose some DPS. It's definitely something that I could improve on too, but like it is much lower priority than all this other stuff.
Okay.
And there's just one thing also that I really want to point out, because it's not universal, which is that like what I'm saying, like, oh, you're getting in melee too much, you're getting in melee too much. That is very much because of the team that you're against right here. There are a lot of teams that have no capacity to punish you for getting into melee range. And versus those, if you don't get into melee, you're just losing DPS. You know, like you're just losing a bunch of pulse bomb charge and DPS and opportunities to body block and that kind of thing. Like Medic is probably the poster child for a hero that's just kind of hopeless when you're getting up in melee and you can abuse them. But like, I was stressing that part so hard specifically because they have this roster full of heroes that punish you for getting into melee range. Like literally all of them in some way punish you for getting into melee range, especially if you were polybomb this game, or if the Medivh's polybomb this game, you were screwed with how that was going. Because that punishes you getting too close, you know? Like, but if you're into a lot of other teams where they have these like very body blockable heroes that don't do anything special at close range, then like, hell yeah, get up in their faces. You know, like if it's a Li Ming, then you're going to be able to eat her arcane orbs before they do any scaling, before they're able to trigger her level 4 talent. You know, you're going to be able to hit her with melees. If it's a medic, if it's an Asmodan, it's going to give you chances to body block him. You got to be careful because, you know, you're going to have less reaction time on his Q, but like it's just something to think about. I want to stress that that is not universal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we ready to wrap this up?
I was gonna ask one more question. I apologize.
No, ask as many questions as you want, brother. This is my favorite hero and my favorite game. Please.
Because I mean, I can ask a lot of questions, but one of like the big ones is so, like level 4, for example. You mentioned earlier going for what's it called? Is that health pack versus the pulse gen? I default pulse gen. I don't think about it. I just go pulse gen level 4. And you're saying like, so if I'm playing like sort of off lane, because I've seen you sometimes do like off lane tracer, for example. Are those the moments where you pick health pack or not?
Yeah. So like the three major situations where you pick is that a health pack at 4. The obvious one is there's no healer. You know. Because, like, if there's no healer, then it's really hard for you to even get pulse generator value in the first place, because it's hard for you to auto-attack that much. Because, like, you make any mistakes, you take any chip damage, and then you have to stop auto-attacking heroes. And then you, like, go, like, heal off a wave or something. So that's the first one, is you have no healer. The second one is you have a W1 Alex who spawns regen globes. And the third one is you're offlaning, like you said. And there's some games like, I've done this a lot on Alterac Pass where you're like W1 because like, oh, this is a good W Tracer game. And then you get into the late game and you're like, huh, I'm playing split push a lot. Or maybe they like have really bad responses to split push. You know, like maybe like their offlane is Chen or like their offlane is Imperious or like Twin Blades Variant or something. Then, you know, like just one of these like low macro heroes that people like to play in the offlane or Thrall. Then you could just really hard punish that by being like, oh, well, I already went, you know, melee 1, and now I'm just going to pivot into bullet spray. And in those games, you don't necessarily know you're going to pick bullet spray ahead of time. You might, like, you could very well make that call off draft, but like, it's like you said, it's the fact that you're playing an off lane that makes you want Globe. And that's like the most common reason you would want it. The other ones don't come up nearly as often in SL, but particularly, this is like a very heavy cursed hollow thing in particular. Because not only is it such a huge map, but also the rotations are so dangerous and so easy to control. Because there are other big maps, like Garden of Terror and Alterac Pass, you know, Warhead Junction. There are other really big maps, but the thing about them is that, like, the rotations between the lanes are not nearly as harrowing for, like, a solo hero to make in a lot of those situations. Like, you know, if you're playing like a Kael'thas or whatever, and you're mounting between lanes, and you see someone at the edge of your vision, you can just back away. But in this, you don't see them at the edge of your vision. There's all these corners and bushes and everything. So you're way more like aloof and isolated than you would be on a lot of other maps. So I actually tend to pick it a lot on this specific map because in a lot of games, just like you kind of saw here, you end up sort of relegated into just sitting there trying to bully your lane matchup as Tracer on Cursed Hollow. And in that situation, it's really good for it. Like a lot of offlane heroes get very hard bullied by range 1 plus globe 4. You can imagine Leoric is like number 1 on that list, but there's a lot of heroes that just lose to that really hard for sure.
Yeah, Funds did that to me one time. We did it in-house, and he was playing Tracer into my Leoric, and it was the most miserable game I've ever played.
Dude.
The only reason we won is because Valimar hard carried me.
Dude, Valimar is a beast, man. There's so many just goated players from back in the day that I remember, and I'm like, damn, that guy was sick. And the fact that we still have Valimar is so cool, because that guy is legitimately like insanely good.
Nah, if I have to glaze anyone, it's Valimar. Like, I think he's probably the best player I've seen that's consistently the best. Like, I've seen him in like a bunch of, like, I did in-houses with them, NGS and all that, and like I can't find like faults on the guy.
I mean, I feel
like, he's just consistently good. For
me, because I was a healer player as like my first like big main role in the game, but also because it's like a very flashy, in my opinion, like PvP role. Like healer's obviously not that good at macros, so like why would you pick it? Because it's good at PvP. And so then like I can think of all these times where I just saw healer players make like crazy outplays. Like Tiger JK had the nastiest divine palms of any player I've ever seen. That was an old school HGC player for any unaware. I remember Unaverted with Karazim just diving me so deep, you know, it really messing me up. That guy goes by Brandon now. I would see Banana H make a bunch of sick plays. I want to say on his Deckard, like Shad would farm people on Stukov. I have a soft spot for the healers. You know, they make a lot of crazy plays. So shout out to all those guys that we mentioned. Shout out Valimar. And again, I'm happy. I could just sit here and take questions for another hour, brother. Is there anything else you want to ask, or are we wrapping it up?
You kind of covered one about like picking like W1 over what's it called, Tracer rounds. Like you meant you went into detail before you even asked the question, so I think like that question's already solved.
So I kind of talked about like what happens in games where you go W1, but I didn't really like make it clear like when you want it. And the big thing with W1 is that you are against heroes who don't punish you getting close. And I kind of mentioned some of them earlier, but I only mentioned like some of the backliners. And actually the frontliner, in my opinion, is one of the biggest determinants for like which level 1 you can go. Because like Tracer rounds, this is, oh, I want to be auto attacking all damn day. I want to sit there and harass your tank. Well, if that tank is Stitches, and especially if it's a Gorge Stitches, which is incredibly popular. You look at almost any Stitches player. I low-key, I think he's the tank where people are like, oh, I got forced to play tank. I don't want to play tank. I know, I'll play Stitches, you know? But like versus a Gorge Stitches, you're just simply not going to be able to auto-attack very much because he's like standing back a lot. But also the big thing is that he doesn't really have a great tool to punish you getting in melee range. Like, yeah, he can Gorge. And if he can like Gorge and spit you out into a Stukov puddle or like a Junkrat trap, then like great, you know? But that's a lot of things that got to come together. And even in those games, auto attack's still not going to do that much for you. So like Stitches is one of the like flashing indicators that it's a W1 game. The other big ones are like Johanna. Johanna has no good way to punish you for just walking up and meleeing her, especially while Blessed Shield is either not earned yet or on cooldown. So you can just walk up and slap her basically on cooldown with your W1. And then the other big one that comes to mind is Mei. If they have a Mei, then it is really easy to slap her and she has no answer to it. But then also, and I want to make it clear that this next part that I'm going to say is, this has a lot to do with other ranged auto attackers as well. And it's not just about Tracer. And that it's that the beefier that the enemy frontline is, the easier it's going to be to maximize your auto attacks. If they have this front line that's like, oh, I don't know, Diablo Dahaka or something. These two pretty tanky characters that got a lot of self-healing and they're getting up in front of you and they're playing in your face a lot of the times, then it's really easy to just sit there auto-attacking all damn day. On the other hand, if they have like Stitches as the primary example of what we just said a second ago, but then the offlaner is also Illidan. You know, he's not like frontlining in your team's face. He's not sitting there holding a bush. He's either like split pushing somewhere or he's like hard diving your team. that would be like a huge flashing neon signs melee 1 game if you were against Stitch's Illidan, because tracer rounds would just do nothing for you that game. Like, I want to make it clear that it's mostly about the front line, but that also this thing about like the beefier the enemy team's front line is, the easier it is to auto attack. That extends to every ranged auto attacker. Like, it would be really hard to get a lot of auto attacks as Raynor versus that team, or to get a lot of auto attacks as Hanzo versus that team, or Vala, you know? So maybe you don't want to draft those heroes, or maybe if you are those heroes, maybe you want to go a different build, you know? But like, that's kind of hero agnostic to an extent.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But that's, yeah, like before I didn't really go into why you would want W1, but yeah, it's very much just like look at the fight, look at the comps more than anything, and ask yourself, does this enemy team punish me for getting in melee range? And if they don't, it's a W1 game. That's like 90% of it, I would say.
Okay.
Which
I like that system though, yeah.
Yeah. And that actually ends up, that might sound like W1 as the default, you know, like especially if you are one of the people on YouTube watching this and you're not super familiar with me. But like, no, I end up going full auto attack build on Tracer like 3/4 to 4/5 of the time. Because most teams, in fact, do punish you for getting in close.
Nah, don't believe it.
Alrighty.
I have 2 more questions.
Hell yeah, bring him on, bring him on.
I got you. So this one's a bit more loosey-goosey, more like there's not really, I'll just ask the question.
Sure.
Do you think Total Recall is pretty much the default pick no matter what? Or if you say like you drill it, could you do get stuffed, should get stuff be picked more often? If that makes sense.
So Total Recall is absolutely the default. And I think until you are a Tracer god, you should be picking this like every game, every build. Because Total Recall, it absolves so many sins. You can really misplay off your ass, and not only will it fix your misplay, but like what happens actually quite often, funny fact, is a team will chunk you really hard and say they take like 70% of your HP, and it looks like you panic recall. And what happens is that they wait at your recall spot so that they can finish you off, and then you pop out with full HP. And then they're like, oh god, what do we do? We're out of position. And then now they actually get wiped. Like, I've actually had so many games go that way because they tried to kill me out of the recall, and then I came out with full HP and they couldn't finish me off. It just makes her significantly easier, much more forgiving of mistakes. It baits the enemy team. The thing is that get stuffed, especially if you're playing melee build, because there's a certain ideological overlap here where like getting a bunch of health really helps the build that's about maximizing uptime and trying to spend as much time as possible auto attacking the enemy team and harassing them and whittling their health down through this like, you know, kind of like Fabian war of attrition style fighting. That's what Total Recall perfectly plays into. So even if you are really good, I still think that it's like kind of default in auto attack build in general. But Get Stuffed is super interesting because it's hard to communicate just how much you can do with the ability. Like, it means that enemy cooldowns that they try to use to block your pulse bomb are now much more inconsistent because they have to use them predictively instead of reactively. So like there are times where you kill someone while Medivh has his shield up because he's not expecting it. Or like while Divine Shield is up, or while Ice Block is up, or that kind of thing. You can debate about whether that should happen, but the simple fact is that it does. But then also you can interrupt channels, like it gives you a way to interrupt Mosh Pit during the wind up. It gives you a way, like if Stitches gorges one of your teammates, you can push him into your team and save your teammate. It's a way to peel for your backline. Like, I've had games, I remember there was one really, really big game that always sticks out in my mind where I was against an enemy butcher and he lambs my medic in the end of the game, and our medic is going to die and we're just going to lose, and I just get stuffed him off, and then the medic has enough time to escape. Like, get stuffed is a peel tool, it's an interrupt, it's a kill creation tool, like an insec, if we have any League players, you know the old term insec. It pushes people like into the Towers of Doom death zone. It does a lot of really cool stuff, especially if you're playing melee builds. You have more of an opportunity to take advantage of the bonus pulse bomb charge that you get whenever you melee a hero from the talent. Like, I would say just stay far away from that talent until you have like 200 tracer games, you know, realistically more like 100. But you can absolutely drill it out and do a bunch of really cool stuff with it. And the cool thing is that it's a much more proactive 20 than Total Recall is. Like, with Total Recall, you might be doing everything right, and then one of your teammates just ints, you know? Like, but like, if you're get stuffed, a lot of times you are the first person making a play. And it's like, before your teammates even get a chance to like throw the game away, you've already won it, you know? Like, it's a very proactive playmaker that is just full of different ways to use it and whatnot. So I do think that it should be something that Tracer players should think about picking once they are very good at the hero, and they're not making these like huge mistakes that they have to fix with their health bar. Because I'll tell you right now, every Tracer player, I don't care how good you are when you're watching this video and you're thinking you're good, you take too much damage. I don't care who you are, you take too much damage. Your positioning is bad. You need to do all the things that I said in Nebulabass earlier. I was talking to you too. And then once you learn how to not do those things, you can think about picking a different 20 and doing all that cool stuff that I just mentioned.
Gotcha. Okay, no, this is kind of eye-opening. I never really put that much thought into it because, again, like I'm like for that build, I kind of just mindlessly pick all of them, and move on. But I've always thought like, yeah, like get stuff looks really good. The execution
super
seems
good.
really hard. Yeah.
It's not as hard, and the one thing is there was that knockback change a couple patches ago that made like every hero that I've tried it on a lot better. Like Raynor Q feels way better. Chen Keg feels more consistent. I don't play Li Ming, but I've heard from Li Ming players that Wave of Force is way easier to use to set up your combos now. So I haven't played a ton of Get stuff since then because, again, I'm picking Total Recall by default, and it synergizes more with my preferred build of auto attack. And I'm also just not playing nearly as much as I used to. You know, 9 to 6 pilled feels bad, man. I hate it here. But, you know, like, but it wouldn't surprise me if those changes made Get stuff significantly easier to use.
Okay. Now, the last question I have, this one was sent by a viewer.
Oh, perfect.
They have a question about the Nazebo Tracer matchup. Specifically, what do you do if Nazebo walks with the frogs?
Like if he's Toad build?
Let's say he's Toad build, and Nazebo throws the frogs and walks with the frogs.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like I took this to be some sort of like metaphorical, like he walks with the frogs, but no, you mean literally like he walks in the frogs.
He presses E and then just walks along with the frogs.
Well, then you would just kite and not stay on the frogs and free auto attack him. The only reason it would be remotely like zoning is if he sends the frogs and then stays behind them, like on the other side of them, because then you couldn't cross them without starting all those dots. But here's a funny thing you can actually do. So it's like, if he does that, first let me start by this. If he walks on top of his frogs, you should just be free auto attacking him. And not eating any frog damage as a result, because if he's on the frogs, then he's in your attack range without you triggering them. But you know, there's something funny you can do specifically in this matchup versus Toad Nazebo, which is that he walks in into the team fight, and he double casts Toads, and he starts sending them all out towards your team. You blink into all of them, eat every single Toad, and then immediately recall before you take any of the dot damage.
Wait a minute.
And then
that's the counterplay.
He loses his entire build, and none of your teammates get hit by any of the Toads. This is mostly relevant in like the late game, when maybe you have Total Recall, but the more important thing is that you're not inting him a bunch of stacks on his Toad quest because he presumably already has it done. But like that actually can hard carry a fight because you're kind of taking away his entire build when you do that.
Okay.
And then that actually does remind me though, is that Nazebo has Ice Block. I think he has the last just regular ass Ice Block. It's just called Ice Block in the game. They took out all the generic talents and they reflavored them and whatnot. Like Jaina has improved Ice Block and stuff like that. But the big thing there, just as a little closing note here, is that Ice Block is a stasis, and stasis as a status deletes Pulse Bomb entirely. So like if you enter into Bunker, or like Samuro swaps with one of his clones, or you enter into Ice Block, that will delete your Pulse Bomb, and you should, whenever possible, try and wait for it to time out, and then cast it on them as the ice block is ending. Sometimes you do still need to cast it anyway when you know they can ice block it because you just really desperately need that trigger pulse generator. But ideally you would wait that out when possible.
Okay.
Alrighty. I think
that's it. I have no more questions. I
Hell
appreciate you
yeah.
taking the time to answer those questions too, by the way.
No, dude, I love talking about my favorite hero and my favorite game. I do not get to have these conversations nearly as much as I'd like to anymore. It's the big thing I miss about streaming. It's just getting to nerd out about HOTS with people that listen and don't go, wow, he's stinky. You know?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go wrap up the recording there, but thank you to anybody who watched to the very end here. Thank you, Yi, for providing me with this replay. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye-bye.